Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Elite Dangerous Miniatures presentation. I must point out this is a demo that I've put together for the last, well, again, that I've been put together for the last 3 years. It's not an official Elite product, but I would just like to show you how difficult and but how much fun we can have with these kind of miniature game models. I have two lovely volunteers with me today. We have Steve and Steve. We have double Steve problems here. So we've got Steve James.
Hello.
And of course, Steve Kirby.
Hello.
Now, both of these gentlemen, well, it's quite nice that they volunteered because they have experience of other games which are similar. This is obviously inspired by other games such as Warhammer 40K, and let's see, obviously the X-Wing game is a major influence of this, but what we've done is we've given these kind of things an elite twist. And hopefully what we'll do is we'll quickly go through the whole process, and we'll have Steve versus Steve, and the best Steve will win. We know that the one winner will be called Steve, which is also handy. It's considering how bad my memory is at the moment. So, this game's been in production for the last, like I said, 3 years. Now, one thing to point out, that these models have all been 3D printed. And just to show you the advances that have happened in 3D printing, is that this Cobra here, which I am just showing here, as you can see, that was printed 3 years ago on a top-of-the-range 3D printer, which costs about £2,500. And you can see, unfortunately, it didn't come out as well as it should have done. These days, you can pick up off Amazon a 3D printer, and it will give you this level of detail. So you can see in the last 3 years, 3D printing has just come along so much more, and then hopefully, one of these days, I'll be able to afford to print these models quite cheaply. So, we'll just quickly give you an explanation. We have these ships. Each ship has its model. It has a crew card. It has some equipment, and it's got some maneuver cards. Now, I might as well point this out. You'll notice here we have a crew card. And that crew card there, you can see that it's a dangerous commander. And that means that they are able to use all the maneuvers. Each of these maneuver cards has got a little symbol in the top left-hand corner, or top right-hand corner, rather. Now, that will show you that that commander can use the maneuver. So an elite commander can throw their ship around a lot better than a harmless commander can. So there's another little foible to this, and that is power. You are able to power each of your individual systems for your ship, just like you can in the proper Elite Dangerous game. So what we'll do is I'll just quickly explain the setup. At the moment, we have Steve, number one. Steve, number one. He has got a Sidewinder and an Eagle, but both of the pilots aren't as good as Steve Kirby's, who has got a dangerous Cobra. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through some pretty straightforward maneuvers. I'll take you through the game loop so that everyone can understand. The idea being that I can teach everybody how to play this game in about 10 minutes, and then you can run with it yourself. And we'll be doing demonstration games of this after 4 p.m. after the big photo. So, moving on. So the first bit, each game turn is split into 4 sections. Well, 5 really, but the first section, of course, is planning. That is where both of the players here will decide what maneuvers they are going to have, and they will select that maneuver from the maneuver deck. And then they'll place it face down behind the ship. Next, we have the movement, where they actually decide the power allocation for their ship. They will then turn over the card, depending on which order they're running in, and move the ship using the templates. And then they get a special action, which could be a whole various things like boosting or target locking or basically concentrating on an enemy. Or firing even chaff, which is going to be useful in a game like this. And then finally, we have combat, which basically is if someone is in a target arc, and I'll just point this one out as well, you'll see that this thing here is actually the base for the ship. The orange markers there is if you have gimbaled weapons. So that means you get a full 90 degrees worth field of fire. However, there are fixed weapons in the game, which means that you use the smaller firing arc. So there is a cost, but you do get a benefit of more damage because, yeah, there's got to be a benefit somewhere. So, gentlemen, would you like to have a look through your maneuver cards and decide where you would like to maneuver your ship? Now, I might as well point out this, although it does look like Steve's ship is outnumbered, there are a lot of techniques that he will be able to use, hopefully, that he will be able to use in order to negate that advantage. So we have one card down from Steve. Steve won. Both have done. Now, what happens now is that starting in the commander with the lowest ranking, which I do believe is the Eagle, you turn over your card. And you reveal to the world that you are going like that. So we select the appropriate bit. And what we do is you take from the front edge of the, you take it from the front edge and move it to the front edge, like that. Yep. And then just take the template away, and that's where you've moved to. So, looks like you're running away a bit there, to be honest. Okay, fair enough. Okay, the Sidewinder goes next. Oh, before I forget, special actions. Is there any special actions you can do? You can boost, you can do a lateral thruster move, which is basically moving one to the side. I don't think you need to do any repair work or anything like that, so you should be fine. Just straightforward one. Okay, so do the same again. Line up the front, and just normally it's better to move it onto the side so that you can, yeah. So you line it up the side like that, and that makes the maneuver. You don't have to worry about things like that. Right. So onto the Sidewinder. So if you can remove the token for the Sidewinder. So he's doing a 4. 4 gentle bank. I have to be very careful when I say that. Okay. Now, again, do you want to do a special action like a boost or a lateral thruster maneuver? Lateral thrust. Well, in that case, you take a 1 and you move the ship 90 degrees to the side, whichever way you want to go. Like so, yes? Yep, that would be fine. Excellent. You have now finished your turn for the moment. Now, Mr. Kirby. So we are doing a gentle turning 3. There we go. Now, I might as well point out, the reason that we're doing the front edge thing is for when it comes to medium ships, I've found that in order to keep the maneuvering the same, it works better because they've got bigger bases. It throws things out. So, at this moment, is there any special action you were thinking of doing?
Well, if I can target lock on the Eagle, I'd like to, but I'm not sure I'm within range.
Well, there's one way to find out. So, at the moment, this is a... No, you're not in range, I'm afraid. So we've got to leave that. Do you want to boost or side instead? A bit of lateral thrust. That's what you want. Yeah, that's it. Right. Well, at this moment, after the first turn, it's pretty obvious that nobody can fire on anyone else, which is a bit of a shame. But hopefully things will get interesting next turn. So at this moment, we don't need to worry about any shields. We don't need to worry about any cleanup. So it's on to the next turn. So if you would like to plan out your next maneuver. I know the one thing that that is important in this one is you cannot use the templates to actually plan out your maneuver. You've got to kind of visualize it in your head. So it can lead to some humorous situations of crashing into asteroids, which you weren't expecting. But right. Yep. Are you quite sure? Okay, then we will start with the eagle, Mr. Jeeves. We have a 1 off to the side, so that's that one here. Okay, now, is there anything you'd like to do? At this moment in time, I might as well point out you do have the option of what I call the concentration. It will you get to choose whether or not you get +1 to attack, -1 to defense, or vice versa. Okay, so if you'll take the green token there and place that next to your ship, that means that you are concentrating, but that's that one finished. So the Sidewinder moves next. It's doing a sharp turn for a 3. So we will pass that over to there. I see we're coming in with what looks like a classic pincer movement here. Now, your special action. Do you want to boost, or do you want to... well, you don't have any missiles, unfortunately, because... you will boost, certainly. So take that one and boost it a little. Front, yeah. There. Okay, Mr. Kirby. We're doing a gentle, down a bit. There we go, gentle 4. That should be fine. That's away. So we have maneuvered into position now. Which would you like to do? Would you like to target lock or fire or? You can hit him, yes. You would like to target lock on the... Is that with a missile?
I will be with a missile.
Right, okay. So basically put one of them next to the eagle and one of these next to the cobra. Now, obviously, because everything... we can actually start shooting at one another, which is always good. The actions are reversed. So Steve Kirby will go first. So you would like to fire a missile.
I would like to fire a missile at the eagle.
At the eagle. Right. At the moment, one of these is you attack with a gunnery skill of 15. So at the moment, you have a piloting skill there of... What's your piloting skill for the eagle? 5. An eagle also has engines of 10, which gives it a defensive capability of 15. Okay? You didn't put any chaff up, unfortunately, but you also did use the concentration thing, so that means that you actually have a defense of 16, but if you were going to attack, it would be 1 less, if you see what I mean. Right. So what we do in this case is that I will pass 2 dice to Mr. Kirby, and 2 dice to Mr. Jeeves. So, Mr. Kirby, would you like to throw your 2 dice? You've got 15, 21, 24. So you have onto the 15, yes? Ooh. 23, it is a direct hit from the missile onto the eagle. Now, the missile does 3 points of damage. So, unfortunately, that means that the poor eagle has now lost 2 shields. So, there are 2 shield counters which are next to the eagle. So, put them next to the pile. And what we'll do is we'll explain how you can get those back at a later point. However, at this point, you are now down to 1 hull. Ouch. One slight snotter your way, and that thing's going to fall apart. So, blaze of glory. So well done. We have first blood to Mr. Kirby. So, Mr. Jeeves, it's your turn with the Sidewinder. Yep, it's on a 3. Now, because you're arm at range 3, that means you will get -1 to your attack. If it was at range 1, you would actually get a +1, but... So at 2 hit, you will take your gunnery skill, 6, and your firepower. Well, weapons, rather. 8. And basically, you would roll 2 dice. Now, Steve, this is where it gets a little bit interesting, because you have potentially here 2 attacks coming in. But you cannot use all your piloting ability. You've only got your piloting ability of 7, so that's kind of a pool. So you've got to decide what that 7 you're going to use for an evasion, if you see what I mean.
Right. With an evasion, do I still roll some dice?
You will still roll 2 dice. Yeah, you add your engines, and you add whatever you choose from your piloting. You have a pilot that you can add up to 1 to 7, and you're at 8. But you'll always get that 6. Okay. To you, so to engines. Okay. We're all stand. Yes. Go with the RNG. So we've got 10, 11, 12. So I'm afraid that shot goes wide. I might as well point out that obviously if the attacker gets a greater value in total, that's a full hit. If it's an equal, it actually is half damage. But if you manage to completely evade, then nothing, of course, happens. So unfortunately, the Sidewinder hasn't had any luck. So that means it's the Eagle's turn. So the Eagle has a attacking skill of 5, 3, 8, but you take away -1 for your concentration because you put that into evasion. So at the moment, you've got an attack of 8. 7, actually. Yes, my maths. So at the moment, you have engines of 6, and you can use the other 5 from your... Oh. Yep, so that gives you 11. I told you it was better. Oh, that's 23. That's 10. 21. It is a direct hit. So what damage have you got? You've got 3 points of damage coming your way, which, thankfully, you lose 3 shields, and that's it. Yeah. You can. Exactly. You're fine. It's all right. You've just done to that 1 ring. Oh, no, I didn't mean that. Move on. Okay, so that's the end of that turn. I don't think there's anything else we can do at the moment. So if you want to clear the counters away. And I'll point out that, this card here has to be discarded because he has fired 1 of the missiles and he's only got 1 left. So next turn is basically plan your next maneuvers. I will point out that so far everybody has been using standard maneuvers. There are basically maneuvers which you can do which will put your ship into stress, which are red. It means that you can't do any of the special actions, but you will end up with and probably a good advantage if you time it right. And that stress that is then is negated by doing a very, very simple maneuver the next turn. Got those ones as well. I don't think you. Right. Okay. So starting with the Eagle. Oh, we're doing subject of which a red maneuver. So at this moment, you will do a forward 4 and then flip it 180 degrees. No, move it back to the end of the. There we are. That's fine. Okay, so has meant that you are now stressed. So there is a little, what looks like a high G token right there. That's it. And it looks like your pilot's under a lot of pressure. And it means you can't do any special actions. Okay. So next we have the Sidewinder. Now he's doing a sharp 2, but that's a straightforward maneuver. And you can see that Steve number 1 is thinking he's going, Steve Kirby's going in a certain direction. Is this true? Oh, unfortunately, this is one thing I didn't explain. And if you want to go backwards, you have to come to a dead stop first. In that case, yeah, that's my fault. Yeah, dead stop, which is yeah, I know, but so we'll say that right. He wants to do a dead stop first, if that's okay. There we go. So again, you are stressed, so we'll take your stress token here, put him there, and that's left everybody in a weird position because we're all facing the same way and can't shoot one another. But it does mean that you have the option of slamming it into reverse next turn. So, as no one can fire, everybody else clear the boards. Oh, go on, one question.
So to go forward again, do I need to then slam it into reverse again?
Yeah, you have to, if you're going in reverse and you want to start going forward again, you've got to put it into a dead stop. So, right, clear the cards and let's have a think of what you're going to do next. That does stay with you. You are stressed until you do a green maneuver. Believe it or not, we've only been playing for 15 minutes. We're already on turn 4, so that's not bad going. Now, I do have to point out, you do have a spread of power. You can actually shift the power into a subsystem to give yourself an advantage at a particular point. So it's just something to bear in mind. I keep on forgetting about setting power settings because you get into it a bit much. No, it's a standard thing. You set your power, you make your maneuver, then you do your special action. So, well, Mr. Jarvis, you're a 4 straight forward. Okay, so you are still stressed, but you're moving 4 straight forward. And you're hoping that you'll be out of range, aren't you? And next we have the Sidewinder. So he's doing a hard right. There we go. Oh, that's that. You're taking a Cobra on head-to-head with a Sidewinder. Okay, fine. Oh, do you want to do any special actions? Do you mean the concentrate one? It's that one there. So I take it you want +1 to attack, -1 to defense. Right, that's fine. Okay, and Steve, now, at this point, I would say, right, are you happy with the power settings as they are? Right, okay. Then we turn the card. It's doing a gentle 1. No, this is a gentle 1. So we now have the Cobra going straight for the Sidewinder. Right. What can go wrong here? So, dice can go wrong. So, at this moment in time, the Sidewinder, it's obviously going to be the Cobra firing first. Is there anything you'd like to attack, Steve?
I'd like to attack the Sidewinder.
Certainly. You can attack the Sidewinder. You didn't. But you are stressed. You are still stressed, so you can't. Yes. Never mind. Okay, so at this moment in time, you have a firepower of 4, a gunnery, that gives you 11. Yeah, 11. The Sidewinder has an evasion of 8, and it's piloting of 6. So unfortunately, that's 14. But, yeah, -1, so it's 13. Plus, you get another +1 for range, because it's close range. Yeah, so 12 versus 13. So it's not as far as you thought. So that is, ooh, look at that. That is 18. 18. So if you roll something like, is it 6? 15. So you need 14 or higher to evade. Oh, no. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Ladies and gentlemen, I should point this out, that a Cobra has a weapon power of 4. A Sidewinder has a hull of 2 and shields of 2. Does it? Oh, that's a misprint. It's been engineered. Okay, we will reduce that, and that means that he's just there with just the 1 hull point left. So if you could please remove the 2 shields. Damn. Back to the printers. So now we have the side. Well, yeah, the Sidewinder will have to fire now. So you have a firepower of +3. So that's 9. You have 9, and you have 6 + 7, which is 13. Right, 18. No, you're not. You're not going to hit that Cobra. You've fluffed it. Maybe when you got hit, your aiming went off. Yeah. So at this moment in time, we have both the Sidewinder and the Eagle on 1 hit, 1 hull point left. And to tell you the truth, the Cobra hasn't even been touched, to be honest. So clear your counters for that. The stress ones stay where they are, and everyone works out what they can do next. Now, I'll point out, you do have an opportunity to actually gain shields back by putting power into the shields. You'll get them back at the end of a turn. But of course, if you take power out of other systems to boost up your shields, then unfortunately that has a detrimental effect. So you wouldn't be able to evade as well, or you wouldn't be able to shoot as well. I will also point out that each of these maneuver decks is different for each of the ships. So, as Steve just found out, I got a sneaking suspicion he was looking for one particular maneuver, but a Cobra can't do it. Well, a Sidewinder could. Oh, decisions. At this moment, your ships are trailing wreckage all over the map. Okay, so starting with the Eagle. A green 2. Well, that means you can remove that stress token right away. There we go. So, and that means that you can do a special action, which will obviously be a booster or a sidewind or basically an evade. It's up to you. Or you could even actually fire off chaff. Okay, so that is a chaff. So just put the chaff card next to the ship for the moment. So that means that is ships that have got chaff can only fire on that particular ship with the narrow fire arc. And on top of that, the defending ship gets an extra +5 for defense, which is always handy. So the Sidewinder. He's doing a dead stop. So put your stress token next to the Sidewinder. Right. Ooh, that is a very, very good maneuver. We have a hard turn to the right. No, you're fine. You're fine. No, we don't worry about the things when they actually touch. It's when they overlap, then I put the collision rules in, which, to tell you the truth, that'd be the end of the Sidewinder if you had. Which, oh damn, never mind. Ramming speed, yes. So right at this moment in time, there is only one ship that can fire on the other, which is, of course, the Cobra onto the Eagle. Oh, let's have a look. Yes, the Sidewinder can fire. And unfortunately, that will be a... Yes. Yep, quite right. So we have the Cobra versus the Eagle. It is in your fix, so you can still fire. 4 for weapons. 7 for gunnery. 11. I wouldn't put every roll on that. However, because he's got the chaff, that's 5 defense already, 15 because of his engines, and his piloting is another 5, so he's on 20. So, ooh, it's a bit difficult, this one. Difficult shot. No, 4 isn't going to help. In fact, actually, I don't think you fluffed it. You were too worried about that Sidewinder, so we won't even bother rolling the defense. So the Sidewinder is obviously going to attack the Cobra. So that means you have 2 for the firepower, 6 as 8, and your defense is, of course, 13. It's very difficult to hit. That's 11, 19. It's showing off my bad maths here. Oh, you've got no chance there, 15. So again, the shot goes wide. I know. It's like one of those 99% at XCOM, and you shoot up over that direction. You know, it's one of those. Yeah, but his roll was so high. Yes, but you would be right. It'd be a +1 for practically point-blank range. So what we're going to do is we're going to clear the cards, and I think what we'll do is we'll say that this is going to be the last turn of this demo. But I'm afraid to say that unless the Sidewinder and the Eagle can pull a miracle out of the bag, we're looking for a dangerous Cobra win at the moment. I will point out that I've set up a sign-up sheet for this later in the game after the Frontier panel and the big photo. So from 4 o'clock onwards, I'll be running games like this in the games room. So if you want to sign up, feel free. This is going to be a difficult maneuver because basically we've got a lot of high G affected ships at the moment. I might as well point out, if you are suffering from high G or a stressed maneuver, you can do another one. Yeah. Very important to point that out. Otherwise, your pilot's head would explode. I'm sure you've seen that bit in The Expanse when someone comes to a dead stop quite quickly. So, right, we'll start with the Eagle, which is going to do a sharp 3. Okay, do you want to do any special actions on this one? Defensive, that's fine. Okay, the Sidewinder. That is a sharp 2. Is that the other way? Have you just gone completely the wrong way? No? Okay, fair enough. Getting my left and right mixed up again is not a good idea. Okay, just leave it there for the moment. We kind of know where you're going to be. So, Steve, would you want to move yours? A gentle 2 forward. It does, which also means that you can do a special action, which I have a sneaking suspicion I know what it's going to be. Mm-hmm. Yep. So you have locked the second missile onto the Eagle. No. Good luck. So right at this moment in time, starting with Steve, we will now fire that missile. I take it straight into the Eagle. So that has got 15. that's yeah, 15 plus your 2 dice, and you have got basically 15 for your defense. Oh no, 16 for your defense. So oh no, that's not. It's 8. $15. So I'm afraid that missile has gone wide. So yeah, it's obviously a defective one. You shouldn't use Imperial missiles. So now the Sidewinder has an opportunity to fire on the Cobra, point blank again. Nine attacking for the Sidewinder, which 23. Another 18. Again, these things just go wide. It's so basically. Yes, it must be problems with the targeting computer. Again, don't use Imperial targeting computers. Yeah, quite simple. Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will call that a halt to the game here. I would declare at this moment Mr. Kirby is the winner for basically reducing both the ships to 1 hull point and hardly losing any shields. So, thank you very much for both taking part. I'll just point out that the whole plan of this game is just to drum up interest. I know I've been working on this for 3 years. The main sticking point at the moment, before I can take it to a prototype to show Frontier, is unfortunately the cost of the models themselves. Even though there have been vast improvements in 3D printing, it's finding a manufacturer to actually create these models for the price and the quality is difficult. But things are improving, and I'll be keeping people up to date on via Lave Radio and obviously the EDWB website. So thank you all for joining me for this. Next up, we'll have the Frontier panel at 2. So if you want to go and get fed, if you haven't been fed already, now's a good time to do it. Thank you very much.